You're like glowing. If you're getting them, I'm getting them. Hi, hello, and welcome to the Bookish Life.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Tori. And
we're together.
Back together again for ONYX Storm.
As fuck. I don't even know where to start. So, to preface,
Yes.
we're at Tori's.
Mm-hmm.
I flew down yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this book in the airport. Only one copy, though. It came out today. I saw it yesterday. I did not buy it. Some girl's girl.
Because you're a girl's girl, yes.
Did not buy it. We went to the... Do we want to talk about the midnight release?
We can.
Okay. We went to the midnight release party last night.
We are 80 years old, and we do not do
We were
release parties.
grumpy grandmas in the kids section.
In the kids section, yes.
So I called. So we got there. I got into Atlanta at like 6:30, picked up dinner, and then we're like, hey, what time do we have to be there if we just want our book at midnight? And they're like, you have to be here at 8:30 to get your wristband.
Yeah.
I'm like, but the book, and she's like, we cannot sell these until midnight, like, because they were scanning them. So we had to go 3.5 hours early.
Yep, a doodle.
And then we left and went to Target and then came back and sat around for 2 hours.
Yeah, in the kids section.
I wish, and I think we could have just shown up. But they were going to sell any unpicked up copies.
Yeah.
So that's why they're like, show up early to like make sure you get your copy.
I really think we just could have gotten the wristband, went back home for 2.5 hours.
And then showed up at midnight.
Showed up at 11:30.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever do one of those again, though.
No.
Like, I don't know. I just don't know the series well enough because they did trivia and
we didn't know
I
anything.
didn't know a single question.
We didn't know anything.
But not that we participated. We were like in the kids section listening.
Yeah.
They had a costume contest, which we didn't participate in. I think they had like coloring.
Yeah, there's it's my local Barnes and Noble that I go to, and one of like local authors, she always writes there. And so like we follow each other on Instagram. So like I didn't recognize her because she was dressed up as Violet in her hair. Yeah. She had a wig on. So like she was trying to get my attention. I like didn't even think about it. Like I didn't even realize who it was. So
yeah,
it was cool to see her.
And she was dressed up super cool.
Like she was a really cool
Like
Violet,
she had like the dragon scales on her vest.
Yeah. And she had a little dragon.
They were
on her
really
shoulder.
cool people who dressed up.
Yeah.
We just didn't dress up.
People were wearing like sweaters.
Blow up.
That, but they were wearing like bags,
Fourth wing sweaters, yeah.
Yes, sweaters and stuff like that, which was fine. It was whatever. We got our book. We came home. We read the prologue.
But then we went to bed, and I was like,
ugh.
And then we got up. I told Tori I was getting up 30 minutes earlier than I did, but we still got up at like 8, and I was like, we could have just gone to Target and gotten a copy then, and then come home and not.
Now I have a full vlog on my channel the day before that you're seeing this. I posted it on Sunday for my main channel. I don't know if you're posting.
I don't know. I might. Yeah. I did vlog. We'll see where I post it.
Yeah, either on your Patreon or their main channel. Mine's gonna be spoiler free up until like the very end.
Same.
So I think though what we should probably start with, if like going into this book. Now this episode is gonna be filled with spoilers because I mean.
Well, do we just want to say right now general thoughts before spoilers?
Yes.
And then get into spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's more so like we're really, really gonna dive in. We haven't really talked that much. We literally finished the book maybe like
we were
30 minutes ago.
On par. The whole day, except for she made me stop because she fell asleep and then she caught up.
Yeah. I was listening to the audiobook for like 75% of the book, and then I physically read just the last part of it.
Yeah.
But we were on par like
the whole day.
The whole day. We were just both reading really slow, which we'll probably get into
why. It took us 12 hours to finish this book.
Yeah, we started
with breaks and naps.
And naps. We went
Meals.
We started at 8:45 and it was like 8:45, 9 o'clock when we finished.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't really said too much of like our thoughts individually. We just were like
just yell as we're reading.
Yeah. So this is
other.
like I wanted to come up and set up the podcast, get everything set up so we could sit down and really talk about our thoughts.
Yeah.
But general thoughts on the book.
Do we just want to say what we rated it?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so we had checked in throughout the day.
Yeah.
And mine went from 3 to 2. I think I'll settle on a 2.5. I don't know yet if I want to round up or down.
Yeah, mine's a 2.5. Because of the end.
I gave Fourth Wing 5 stars.
I gave Fourth Wing 5 stars.
I gave Iron Flame 3.5.
I gave Iron Flame 3.5. Or 3.
3.
3,
yeah.
Yes.
And this one makes me like, oh, was it really 3.5 or should I rate it Iron Flame 4? Because this was...
No, I didn't mind Iron Flame. Okay.
Right.
So general thoughts. I thought Iron Flame was a filler book.
But after reading this,
I rated Iron Flame because it's a filler book. So I said, I understand that series have those. I know that the progression of an author's writing, like we have to get to certain places, and I understand like to get there,
like
you have
the big
to
build up is at the end, you know.
I get it. I understand, which is why I rated it fair. It's a book. She wrote it. It was in her writing style. It was a book. The end, right? Reading this, I didn't have like expectations, right? Because I didn't know what to, you did. I didn't have anything like that I wanted to see. I didn't even know what to expect. I very rarely looked at the blurb or teasers that were posted.
I didn't even know. I didn't even look at her like playlist.
Yeah,
I posted it with the one song that was playing, and then I didn't look at the rest of it. I didn't want to know.
I didn't know what to expect. And so going in, I was like, all right, like, let's fucking go. I was awake at 7:50 this morning, which was before her. I was downstairs.
No, I got up at 7:45, and I texted you because I was just laying in bed. Okay, so listen, I woke up at 6:30 because my sister was up to go get the Target edition at 7. So I was texting her from 6:30 to 7. I went to bed at 1:30.
Yeah, I went to bed between 1:15. 1:15.
I don't run on 5 hours of sleep. So then I just laid in bed until 7:45. And then I texted you
at 8
right when you got up.
You
were like walking out your door.
Yeah, no, like I washed my teeth, brushed my face, like I was ready to sit down and read.
You washed your teeth and brushed your face?
Yeah, I'm very tired, guys. Listen, it's been the past 2 days.
I know. We're running on not a lot of sleep. Yes. So anyways, so we were ready to go. Tori was up earlier than what I said. Yeah. Because I thought you wouldn't get up until 8:30.
But I like made my breakfast. I made my coffee. I put our heated blankets on. I put the
I
ambiance
ordered
on.
one.
Yeah, she ordered one because
she put a cute. Now I want to do that. That's
fun.
It was like an 8-hour ambiance. And I was like, oh, this is fun. Yeah. And so it was just up all day on your big TV.
Yeah. It was nice. Even though I had headphones on the whole day.
You did. Yeah.
Most of the day. Anyway, so I didn't have any expectations. So we got into it. I was like, all right, the first like 100 pages. And I'm like, okay, like we're building up to something. Like we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And then I just felt like the pacing of this book was off the whole time. It was boring. It was slow. It was info filled. It was, let's go to this place. Let's go to that place and gather some information. Let's go to this place, gather some information that they're looking for. And nothing hooked me. We talked about this. We said this. Is like, there was not one thing that kept me wanting to go. Like, Iron Flame, the romance in that book kept me going because Xaden finally was giving into his feelings.
And they were, like, telling each other secrets. And, like,
they were opening
building trust.
Which I love about romantasy is that that's an aspect that we have as well as, like, a fantasy world and a magic system and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was expecting... not like that, but I was just expecting something to grip me, whether that was the plot, the characters, the mystery, the who's this, who's that, the dragon, something.
But even, like, if there's usually stakes in a romance, and a romantasy oftentimes is, like, something that's keeping them apart. Yeah. But, like, it was such a, I hate to use the word stupid, but, like, the thing keeping them apart physically in this book was stupid for that, like, chunk of time. That 200 pages.
Yes.
The professor thing. Yeah. It's like, this is so dumb.
So I think my overall rating comes from that. There was nothing that hooked me.
Yeah.
I was bored the whole time. None of the reveals were, like, revealing enough to be like, oh, fuck. Yes. Shit just got real. You know, like, some romantic...
the end, did you get my reaction on camera? I was like,
I was waiting for it because I didn't know what you were going to say.
I finished, like, 5 pages after her.
Yeah.
And she screamed. She's like, what? And I was like,
I was,
oh my God.
Not expecting it.
And then I read it and I was like, I don't understand. Like, literally, I had to reread it. I was like, I don't understand. And Tori had to explain the end to me. I was like, am I missing something? But I still don't get it.
I mean, there is something missing.
Yes.
That we don't know.
But it wasn't.
That's the cliffhanger.
And this cliffhanger does not make me want to pick up book 4. The cliffhanger of book 2 made me want to pick up this book.
What was book 2's?
Him becoming Venom.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And so we can talk about
what were because you had expectations.
My expectation. So huge Vampire Academy fans, right? And Vampire Diaries. Like, so when like Stefan with the Ripper, like the scene in Vampire Diaries where Stefan's on the phone and Elena missed a call or almost missed the call and answers it, and the drop in the ocean's playing in the background, and she's like, Stefan, if that's you, I still love you. And he's like full on Ripper, but like he has that one thing keeping him gives me chills every time I think about it. I love it so much. So, and like the same with Vampire. I can't spoil Vampire Academy because I feel like Vampire Diaries, like everyone,
man.
whatever. Similar kind of thing happens in Vampire Academy. And that's what a lot of people compared Iron Flame to with what happens with Xaden. He becomes Venom. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be him like fighting for his humanity. He's going to like turn evil and he's going to be like hiding from them. She's going to be like trying to find him and be like, I still love you. I'm like your shred of humanity. Not a single thing of that happened in this book.
So we got a tiny
until
bit.
the end.
No. Like when he would use the Venom
Okay,
power.
so when Tori was like, nothing hooked me, I was like, there's one scene that we were both like,
Yes.
Yes, give it to me. Was the forehead kiss snap scene.
Yes.
Where he just decimates those people.
12 people, yeah. It was 12 against 2.
A second.
Yeah.
While kissing her on the forehead, being like, no one touches you. And I'm like, that's touch and you die.
Okay.
And I live for that.
Yes, but it's like a trigger for him to use that power, the Venom power, which we knew, like we figured out. But also every time he used it, she was like, I still love you. She still reminded him that like, I still love you.
And he
you haven't
felt
changed.
that at the end when he used it as like, so the end of this book is what I thought was the end of book 2. So like, I feel like in book 4, we're going to get what I thought this book was. So this book was just
what this book should have been to you.
Yes. And like, I feel like all the secrets we were looking for from book 2, none of it was explained, and we got different answers that I didn't even care about in this book. Like the whole priestess thing, I was like, okay, cool. Like, when did this even like become a thing? We learned nothing else about her dad and like anything he left behind. Like it was
other
a huge
than, like,
deal.
Him and his mom, or like the mom and the dad were keeping secrets on purpose. Like they were facilitating. Yeah. Something.
Yes.
And we still don't know what that is.
No. And she went through all this trouble to find his journal. Dane got the journal. She got 6 journals from that weird bookstore. We learned nothing from those journals. I still don't know what's in them. Other than like the
plants
that
she used to help
Garrick. But that was dumb. And like so the reason, and it's hard not to compare this to our other favorite romantasy books, right? So like I'm thinking, okay, Sarah J. Maas, Crescent City has 3 books. How this is nothing compared to those to me. And I bawled my eyes out book 1. Book 1, I'm bawling my eyes out over deaths in Crescent City.
Yeah.
2 people that died in here, I was like, who was that? Like, literally, because who died? Quinn. And that guy that Kat liked.
Oh, Tarek?
Yes. I was like, wait, who was he again? And then Quinn died. I was like, was Quinn a guy or a girl? I don't remember who Quinn is. And it's just like what you said is that she really tried to harness the found family aspect of these characters.
Yes.
That I think she honed in too much. That I was like, I don't get a sense of like this loyal army that like they're in charge of. I'm just like, it just feels like them against the world and no one else really matters.
Yes.
So like these characters she killed off, I was like, okay.
Like the death in the other books, that kind of got me. I was like, oh shit, this is actually like
Liam.
Yeah.
I mean, we can spoil the other books if they're reading this one.
I was like, yeah, Liam's death, I was like, ooh, I don't think I cried. I think I might have like had a watery eye for a second because I did like him. I really did. And then Xaden also felt like it was his little brother. Like they both had like some type of
because they had
connection.
such a history.
Now the Signet thing, that's also with like we need to start from the beginning. But overall thoughts, that's where we are. 15 minutes into this podcast episode, that's how we feel.
Bored to death the whole time.
Bored to death. And I think it's hard because like it's not that she info dumped, because she definitely could have info dumped a lot of this stuff.
But it just felt pointless.
It was, let's go to this place. At some parts, I had no idea where the fuck they were in this world.
And then it's like, oh, look, it's actually Xaden's mom. Oh, look, they're going to try to kill them. Oh, look, they didn't. Oh, look, they went here and someone died. Oh, but everything's great and now we're leaving. I'm like,
yes.
Like, there's no point to it all?
Yes.
It felt like.
My favorite part of the whole book, and I told you this, is Tiernan and Darna's banter.
Yeah.
And that's all in their minds.
Even like, because you had mentioned before we got to the party, like everything's just like so conveniently like being revealed and happening.
And it's not like convenient in a fucking course kind of way. It's like, expected. She's leading us to this one thing.
Yeah.
And of course we're going to find a answer. And the answer we find, I'm like, it conveniently leads him to this one.
Yeah.
So it's not like a bad thing. And I don't.
But there's nothing like to blow us away.
No.
It was all expected. That didn't really matter.
Yeah. So the end of this book, very much.
Even her signet. Like.
Oh, we still don't know anything.
No, but like, I was like, that's it? Like.
Yeah. And I don't know
I don't
like
know.
how many books. Maybe there's 6 or 7 of
I
this
don't know.
series. Like in this series, I don't know. I don't know what she's doing. I just feel like it's spread out a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like we're having the same like she's leading us on and like pulling us on into every book. I don't know if this is how she plotted it. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't know what she's trying to get to. So it's hard for me to say like when as you're reading a series, it's really hard when you read one book at a time if you're like, is the payoff worth it?
Well, and I'm like, I need to reread books 1 and 2 to see if there were actual like breadcrumbs left. Because this feels so disconnected from everything we've been. Because like everyone's like, oh, her second signet's gonna be like seeing dead people or like raising the dead.
Yeah.
And I thought it was gonna be something connected to like his soul. Because remember the one person was like, oh, there's no way to bring him back because it's literally killing his soul. I was like, oh, it's gonna be her signet to be able to like rebuild his soul or something. Like something with the dead. That's gonna be so cool. And it's like, no, she just dreamwalks.
Yeah.
And then Xaden's like, oh, that's so dangerous. But like she's done nothing with it at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is the dream walking dangerous?
And like the whole thing of him reading minds, like that's his second signet. We never really got that much in it this time.
How did he not know they were trying to kill them if he can read people's minds?
I don't know if he chooses or if like
if you're going into enemy territory, why would you not read everybody's mind?
Okay, so as much as I'm questioning like this book and this world and like what I remember, I'm like, am I just dumb? You know what I mean?
Well, sometimes
like, am I like dumb with some of this fantasy stuff? Like, am I not getting it?
Well, sometimes I'm like, when I read romantasy, I'm like, I really care about like the simple stuff versus like the other stuff that I feel like if I don't like pay enough attention to that.
There's a difference if an author does that.
Yeah.
And it's 6 books long and you're supposed to remember everything, right? Yeah. Or like if you have like a 4-book series, right? You are doing things in the book and you're placing things in the book that are making you remember. So it's still fresh in your head. Like, this is the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah. Because I think like, I don't like Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson because I'm like, oh, this is just like too much. It's boring. Yeah. I need my like romance in it. And like, I'm mostly like, and that's what you said, like, we didn't love the romance in this book. So it kind of like really lowered our rating.
And I will say, I just read The Sword of Kaigen this month too.
Which, yeah.
And that is, I would not consider that romantasy. It does not have a romantic subplot. Some people may say that. I personally don't think so because that's going to make romance readers pick it up. And it's not for that.
So don't have those expectations.
Yeah. But the story of her being a woman in a patriarchal society is so relevant and so relatable. I fucking loved it. I loved her story. I loved her son's story. I loved the whole thing about it. It was such a well-written book.
Still holding the book.
I know. Such a well-written book, but it was so every chapter and every point of view that you got meant something.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
To her core of what this book was supposed to be about.
Yeah.
She's trying, I don't know if it's because it's her first romantasy or fantasy, or I don't even know if she's ever done fantasy before. No. Published wise.
Yeah.
She might have like written stuff. But like, I just feel like she's trying the found family thing, which a lot of romantasy books do have, and we really do love that. But I think like when you have X amount of people, but then you like in your core group, but then you also expand it a little bit and you have all these other people, but then you're at the end of the book, she brought in all these points of view of people we weren't like, even really following throughout the book.
Why am I in Rhiannon's point of view right now? And who is she even talking about? Who is this person? I don't know.
Yeah. Like,
and then Imogen.
I know that like Jess at Honest Fiction in her recap video, she put an emphasis on like, oh, you know, Violet's keeping secrets from her friends and she feels disconnected from her friends in Iron Flame and she has to tell them. That also happens in this book, that she was keeping secrets and then from certain people
told one person.
And then she told people and then she had to tell other people, but it wasn't necessarily her secret to tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she was a part of it. And I don't know if she was trying to like establish that like loyalty of like Violet and Xaden can trust these people.
Yeah.
But Xaden had already had that found family aspect of all the rebellion kids that followed him.
Well, and I feel like that was missing in here. Yeah,
that is Garrick. That is Bodhi. That is was Liam.
Roddick.
That's Imogen. So, and those were the found like core people. I found the found family that he had before even Fourth Wing started that we saw from Violet's point of view. I thought that was a stronger found family than what was in this book.
Because you really got it in Iron Flame though.
Yeah. Iron Flame?
Yeah.
I don't remember. That's
like when they're at that like school, their own school that they created,
Oh,
and like
yes, when they go back
all with Zayden. It's like Zayden's world now.
Yes.
I'm like, we really got to know them.
So it was Violet entering Zayden's world.
Yeah.
And this, it just felt like Zayden and Violet just winging life right now.
Yeah.
And if that's what she meant to do, then that's fine.
This big scene, and then it's like, okay, now classes. I'm like, what are we doing in classes
But also,
right now?
I forgot, are the writers, the Griffith writers, they said that everyone can come to the bad guy of college and join at the end of
Cat's there.
Yeah,
Cat's there a lot, and I was like,
why is Cat there? If I was Violet, I'd be fucking pissed if this bitch was there. You know what I mean?
But Cat moved on. She was with someone.
I know,
but then like her character was like so interesting in Iron Flame. She had no personality in this book except for when that guy died.
Yes. And then at that point, I was like, I really don't give a fuck. Sloane was cool. She almost knocked that person out. She went to fight that person at the end of the book. I don't know if you saw that.
Because then I was like,
and Dane saving Mira.
Yeah.
With Brennan, and then her making, there's not a rune mark on the back of his neck like there was on his hand. She made that comment in her point of view.
Well, so do we know that Sloane is like a conductor?
She did that for the mom within Darna.
Oh, okay.
That's how the mom.
That wasn't mentioned for an entire book. I was this is Sloane's. I don't remember.
So half of these characters that we kept
they only come in when it's convenient. It feels like
exactly, and I think that's why the found family wasn't established.
How did Dane know that he had excess power to give to him?
Yeah, I don't know that part. That part confused me. This is why I'm thinking, I'm like, am I missing something? Am I dumb? I don't know if this is just how she wants to write it, and that's totally fine. I will read things as a author releases it, you know what I mean? But it makes it hard when you have 2 books back to back that just really seem like filler books with little things that are dropped in there to make us want it. The forehead kiss and the snap, or the very end with the they're married now. That was bizarre.
Talk about the end, because when I read it, I was like, and I have to go find that scene again where she's like, oh, you did what Imogen was like, you did what you asked me. And I was like, what did she ask Imogen to do?
And I don't know. Imogen was not in her point of view, in Violet's point of view, so much throughout the book. That's why I was so thrown by her chapter. So I was like, I don't remember her having this conversation. Now, in Zayden's point of view at the very end, you see that, he's like, oh, get Tiernan to agree.
Yeah.
And Sigale?
Yeah.
Was like, okay,
we're going to do it.
We're going to try. I basically go to Endarna and go to Tiernan and be like, Zayden wants to marry her. And I understand.
They didn't say that. You had to infer. So that's why I was like.
Yes, I had to explain this part to her.
But the missing 12 hours. At first, I thought it was all going to be a dream she was walking in. And I was going to be pissed.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Because
we don't know the next book.
I was like, because that's what I thought. Because I just finished rewatching all the Twilight movies, okay, and it's just a vampire season around here, and I was like, no, I was like, because the Dreamwalker thing has to be something. If it's not going to be a really cool second segment, because personally, I don't think it was that cool as the theories are.
Yeah.
Which I feel like some people, that's what ruined Sarah J. Maas's books for them, because their theories they liked better than what the book was. I didn't have any theories going into that book, so I really loved it.
Shadow, yeah, exactly.
And I saw a lot of people criticize it because they liked the theories better.
Yes,
and that's what I see with this one, because I've seen so many really cool theories.
I haven't looked at any theories because I don't want to. Once again, I'm dumb. I don't look at things like that. I don't look for those things. I don't try and think ahead. Yeah. The only series that I've done with
but even you said it. You were like, I think that she can see dead, something with the dead is her second segment. You said it.
That's the only theory that I've seen.
Yeah,
but that was from Fourth Wing that people were talking.
Yeah,
about.
but then they talked about his soul. I was like, this is gonna be so cool. And then it's like, oh, she's in a dream.
She's leading us to one way, and I don't know if she's meaning to do that. Maybe it's
maybe something cool is gonna happen with the dream walking in the next book, because Zayden was like, this is even more dangerous than mine, and I was like, how is that more dangerous to be able to read every single person's ever thought?
Well, because we saw the person in the first book who had his signet come,
and they immediately murdered him.
Yeah, because he was reading everyone's mind and he was going crazy. So also we had the what?
I was gonna say she kind of hints at things and then completely shuts it down. Yeah. So the whole the dragons they chose to give you the gift, and then whoever was like, that's not how it works. Then I was like, oh, do the dragons actually decide what gift they give? And
we were thinking at the middle of the book, I was like, oh shit, the dragons have
why did they make
plan.
sure to say that?
the dragons, like Tyrion and all that, because they always
Yeah.
talk about how they don't gossip about the writers.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally just the Imperium. And this series is called the Imperium. So I was like, is the dragons trying to build up to something bigger and
Like
better?
this army for them.
And then and Darna's dragons, the type, what are they called? Iris?
Iridin or something?
Iridin? IRDN? IDRN?
IRDIN?
Whatever. And Darna's kind.
Yeah.
Come and they're like, this was a test for humans. They're not peaceful anymore. They're using this to fight war. They're using the
I didn't
dragon
like the
in
whole
this
scene.
I was like,
They
all right.
basically showed up and peaced out.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, by the way, like, I'm going to drop this tidbit of information. And then one of them come back and they're like, oh, by the way, we need to take in Darna to come back to our den so she can
But then she
learn
comes
our
back.
kind.
And I was like, what is the point of this?
That was like 2 weeks.
Well, but then I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. Secrets about like how everything worked. I was like, the dragons are going to be the ones that are building this army of people.
Yeah.
Because it has been like centuries since the 7 signets had been available at the same time. And we already have 4 of them we counted, even though one's dead. And I was like, the dragons are controlling everything. And then it's like, oh, and Darna knew about her sleepwalking power, but she didn't tell her because they know the powers that they're given, but they didn't actually choose it.
No, just
like
Tyrion knew that
point of like hinting
he
about
had
this?
lightning, like he gave her lightning, and he didn't say anything until it manifested.
Yeah, but I was like, this could be so cool, and it's not. So like the hard part, the fact that we read this the first day it came out, is I don't know how anybody else thinks. Like I went to Goodreads and there's 2 reviews, so it's like,
yeah. Well, I do know a lot of people were 1-starring her book for the Target thing, which I think is so fucking dumb. Like I think that is so dumb. But I do think I'm very interested to a lot of our romantic-y friends.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see their perspectives because I haven't posted that we finished.
I posted that I finished and just that I have thoughts.
Okay. See, I haven't posted anything. I don't know if anyone's going to respond. Like, I don't know what they're going to say. I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't read it.
I'm not going to say anything.
I'm not going to say either way. Like, I'm just going to...
Until probably my video goes up.
Yeah. Like, obviously, yeah.
Because even saying, like, I didn't even tell my sister. My sister's like, oh, how was it? I was like, I can't even tell you if I liked it or not because I want to know your complete, like, unbiased, no thoughts. Though it's interesting, and I don't think we swayed each other's decisions. Like, we felt the same way the whole time.
I got pissed. I was ready to rate this 2-star. Like, I was this close to
asleep, and I was so we took 12 hours to read this because we were so bored.
Yeah.
And like I normally can fly through a book.
Okay, so the perfect example is I had the audiobook, and the audiobook is 24 hours long.
Yeah.
2 times speed minimum. That's how fast I read when I listen to romantasy. When I immerse read, 2 times speed as I'm physically reading along. So that's 12 hours. After the morning when I was awake and I was like, okay, let's go, I upped it to like 2.5 times speed, and you were around the same time as me. And then I was able to up it to like 2.9 because it's not fantasy heavy. And if I'm reading long, it's easy. Depending on the writing, I can comprehend it easier. So then I was listening to the audiobook in my headphones. You couldn't hear it, physically reading along. And then you were like, once I woke up from my nap again, we stayed exactly like 30, 40 pages like around each other.
Yes.
Like she was
3
ahead.
times speed audio.
So it's like, the pacing was fine. So theoretically, if we were listening at like between 2.5 and 3 times speed, we would have finished at, what is that? What's 24 divided by 3?
8.
8 hours. Between 8 and 10, because we did take like an 1.5-hour break.
Yeah.
Give or take if we slow down or
But
sped
like
up.
it was really, really hard. I think it was either 200 to 300 or 300 to 400 where like they were just going to those different places where I was like, nothing is happening, and you zonked out, and I was like in and out, taking twice as long to read.
Yeah.
And it was, and like I wasn't reading slow because of the fantasy aspect, because it was like really easy to understand. Like you said, you could bump up the audio.
This is not Way of Kings epic fantasy type thing. It's not like that.
No. I will say, I did not reread books 1 and 2 before going into this. I just watched recap videos.
Yeah, I did too.
Last time I reread Fourth Ring immediately before jumping into this.
Yes, and I highlighted it and annotated it. But because the only reason I didn't reread Iron Flame is because I rated it 3 stars, and I said I don't know if I want to reread it again.
Yeah.
But I will say I saw Rachel. She's rereading Iron Flame. And when I looked at Goodreads or in the middle of the day to see if anyone posted their review, she was about, I don't know what percentage, but she posted a reading update. She's like, okay, I'm actually liking this a little bit more than I did the first time I read it. So
I thought you were going to say this more than that.
Iron Flame. So I don't know if like knowing how it ends and then going back. I
want to reread now because I feel like I'll appreciate Iron Flame more than this.
Well, I felt like that when I read Wisteria about Belladonna. Yeah. Like that kind of, that's not romantasy, but like, you know, Gothic kind of paranormally fantasy type thing.
Yeah.
I have a deeper appreciation for Belladonna after reading Wisteria because I
Mhm.
understood what she was doing.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard with this book because I still don't fucking understand what she was doing. We really didn't get any goddamn answers.
No.
Like, I have a lot more questions. Like, why is It's not Asher Donovan. Who is that? I don't know what book that's
What
from.
is that? Is that
That's the Striker.
Oh, is it? I was like, was that Lauren Asher? No, that's the Striker. Yeah.
Asher something, and now he's Asher
Sorengale,
Sorengale, which is her dad.
But like, wasn't there a question about like who her dad even was?
Yeah, but I think that actually is her dad, but
Okay.
he took her to like the
But
priestess
like, I feel like
thing.
a lot of questions in Secrets books 1 and 2 focused on.
Yeah.
It did a complete 180 and focused on different secrets in this book.
Yeah. Which I don't know then if the next book is going to merge everything together. It's hard to say. Like, it's really hard to say on an ongoing series. Like,
I'm like, how many books is this gonna be?
I think 6, 7 maybe. Like, I'm assuming it's like JLA. But like JLA, as much as I love the From Blood and Ash series, I'm a huge fan. That is the only series I've reread like multiple times.
What editions do you have?
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the first book.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do love that. Are some of the books filler books? Absolutely. But their romance in those books carries it for me.
Which, like, but the romance in book 1 of Fourth Ring, I remember obsessing over and swooning over. And by this point, I'm like, oh, look, they're having sex again. Like,
as a romance reader, I mentioned this at lunch, and I mentioned it at dinner too, is that this book, when you get 3 books into a romantic-y series, I don't expect, but like I understand that you have that lust towards the person you love, but you have to have like the romantic aspect to keep it going for me, and that's maybe why I was so bored with it because the lust was
I think
fun.
it was more telling than showing too about how much they loved each other.
Yes, like she would be like, I love you no matter what you're doing, even though he's being venom and using the power. I'm like, cool, I love that you're doing that. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But like I just felt like
swoon over, except for the one scene.
The snap and forehead kiss.
I didn't
That is touch her and you die.
over anything.
Yeah. Like not even the end where he was
I do like the shadows during the spice scene.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yes.
But have they done that in the other books?
Yeah. But like the time that they had sex in this book was like there was no magic. It was at that other place.
Yeah, but that's when they could like really let it loose because it'd been so long because he couldn't trust himself. So.
Even though he left like a burn mark on the fucking headboard, I'm like, bro, she broke a whole goddamn dresser in the first book.
Well, they broke a table in this one, so.
Yeah. So I'm like, I just feel like it's very lust forward.
Yeah.
And I want a little bit more
swoony.
of the swoony
like
at this
1.
point. Like, I want to see them, like, not epilogue in love, you know what I'm talking about? Not happy in love. But, like, I want them to have that, like, undying.
To fight for.
I will.
Yeah.
And I know Xaden, like, says he'll fight for her. He's like, this is the, you know, she's tethering me, basically. She's my heart. He says a lot of those things. There's a lot of quotes that say those.
Yeah.
But I don't see it. And the lust was fun in Fourth Wing because it was, I hate you, let's hate fuck. Like, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm developing feeling. That's fun.
Well, in then book 2, you realize it was all like a lie on his part and that he was really into her. And you're like, oh my God, like what is happening?
Yes.
And then this one, you're like, oh.
Yeah, this one I'm like, okay.
Cool.
But it seemed very lust forward. And I don't want to say, like, I don't want to say spicy or smutty because it's like, that's what it is. I mean,
but that's really all they
scenes.
cared about, though.
Yeah, and it's like every single time Violet saw Xaden, no matter how much time has passed, it's, oh, fuck, he looks hot in his leathers. Which, yes, he does look fucking hot in his leathers. Like, yes, we can acknowledge that. We've heard it literally a million times. We get it. But, like, abs on abs on abs when he was in the towel. She said that. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But it's always like, I want to get my hands on him. I want to do this.
My gosh.
Not like, I want to know how he's feeling because he blocked her from his mind. So she wasn't in tune with what he was thinking either and feeling and sending through the bond. So I just felt frustrated with that part of it, too.
In where the heck did this X come from? We didn't even touch on that.
Oh my God, this dumb ass, thieving little punk ass bitch.
I was like, wait a second, because that's how I felt in book 2. I was like, oh, he has some random ex that's never been mentioned before that's like thrown in here for the plot. And then she does it again in this book for Violet. And I'm like, but she's been crushing on Dane
for most
of
her
years,
life.
never mentioned, unless I don't remember, because I haven't reread the books, this random prince that she had some fling with.
So
that she said she thought she loved.
It was 7 months.
So and then he cheats on her.
Yeah. So apparently, one part of the journal was like her dad left her a clue. The password to the journal was like your first love, and we always thought first love. Okay, who was her first love? Well, Dane is not 6 letters. Like you know how much it is, right? it ended up being the dragon, like, because your dragon is your
Yeah,
first
and you're like,
love.
oh, they conveniently said that, and then that led
Someone
them
left like a little
fingering
clue.
it in.
I'm like, it had nothing to do with the journal. Like,
but they were
know.
just like talking about dragons.
Yeah, and how like dragons
are
are your first love. I was like,
She's
oh,
like,
for
oh my
fuck's
God,
sake.
it's Panther.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
But
about.
then she's like, oh, it couldn't be
Halden.
No, but they didn't even say his name. And
No.
we're like, who the heck is she talking about? Like, where's Dane and Xaden? There's been nobody else.
Yeah.
Or else why was she so hung up on Dane the whole book one? If she had all these other...
It was more of like a friend that she had a crush on.
Yeah.
Not like, I wasn't getting first loves vibes.
No, but
yeah.
it was like, oh, but she'd always liked him.
Yes.
Like, that was her.
Yes. And Dane was like a year older, so he didn't like see her like that.
But I was like, where did this random ex that's a prince
and
come
not only
from?
a prince, but he goes into another kingdom on behalf of like
oh my
them.
God, and then like wrecks havoc.
Like the other person had a knife.
Like, who are you? Like, what are you doing?
Then Darna shows up and she has a panther in her mouth.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that was when the forehead kiss snap happened.
But why are we doing this? And then they're like, oh, look, Xaden, your mom. And I was like, what are we doing
That's
here?
when I fell asleep.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, do you want some chocolate cake? You only have forks, though. But, oh, guess what? Violet actually already poisoned us, too. I was like, what is happening?
And then she had to go find a cure because
happening?
Xaden and him, and she just conveniently had that from the plants from the journal. She was like, this plant and this
Oh,
plant
look,
and this
they
plant.
have fig in our bedroom. Go get it. I was like, would they leave the cure to the
antidote?
Poison?
Yeah. I don't know. Then we find out there is no cure. Like, once you're venin, you're venin.
Yeah, which I was like, her signet's going to come in and fix it. No.
Then the brothers thing at the end.
Oh, wait. There's someone else.
Brewy. Beryn. Baron?
No, there's someone else who's venin.
That's the bee guy.
No, he said, oh, look, he was with me this whole time. And now he's venin too. And they never said who it was. Like, why would he do that? You don't remember that? And I was like, wait, who is it? And then they never answered. It's in Xaden's POV.
Oh my God.
It said, I glanced past Berwyn, past Sigale and the venin to my new brother and the unconscious dragon lying in the valley.
Oh.
And it said, how could he do this? Choose this after watching me stumble and fall over the last 5 months. So it's one of his friends from the book. I didn't even
catch that.
That knew the secret that's now venin. Because he says my
Riddick?
brother. I don't know. No,
he wasn't
Riddick didn't know until he saw. So he didn't know for the past 5 months.
Are you sure they time skipped a lot?
I mean, it could be. Who is his other friend, though?
Guy friend. Those
I don't know.
At the beginning of the books. They have everyone's signature.
But, because remember, I was like, his brother, like, she's like, you bring your brother. He's like, why do they want Bodhi? And I was like, Bodhi's not even his brother.
The dumbass guy with the leg?
Oh, yeah. No. Does Sawyer know? Tori was, for context for her comment, she was very annoyed that we had to, like, break the action just to watch Sawyer ride a dragon again. So.
Okay, it has to be Sawyer, Riddick.
What about the guy with the T? Oh, no, he's dead.
First year.
Well, so the only way I know it's, like, a venin person.
Because he has the shadows. Link. Yeah, Lynx. Lynx.
But that's not his friend.
Link. He was the first year who had shadows manifested, and Xaden had to, like, walk him through how to do it.
But I felt like it was, like, one of his, like, close
threshing?
people.
Because they all had, that guy had a dragon. Because he said there's a dragon in the distance with him.
I don't know. But the only way I know it's someone who's a venin is because, remember, she's like, oh, bring your brother. And we're like, why does they want Bodhi?
Is it Jack?
And then they were like, oh, it's Jack. Like, your venin brother.
Yeah.
And I was like, this makes no sense. And they're like, remember he called him brother? I was like, this makes no sense. But then I also feel like we got rid of the mage guy, Sage? The Sage. We conquered him at the end of book 2. And then they have this random
Theophany?
Rival of her mother show up out of nowhere. Like, was she even mentioned in the previous book? And then she's just taken out by the end of the book. I was like, what was the point of having her
She was taken out by a dagger that Alaric gave her.
Oh my God. Because like, what's this poking at my side of my pocket now when I need it?
It's the package that I was supposed to give to Alaric. Like, why would he send himself a package from the Dune?
Oh, okay, but it was cool, though, that Alaric is, like, a seer.
Yeah.
Like, no, Eric.
The prince. The prince that was in hiding.
Wasn't it Eric?
His name? I don't know his name.
Okay, yeah. But, like, because it's
Holden's brother.
Holden's brother, yeah.
Yes.
Eric with 2 A's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He, like, knew what was happening. So that's why I think at that point, I got the vampire, the Twilight vibes, because it's like, oh, it's like Alice. I was like, oh, it's all a dream. That's what I thought it was going to be.
But also, like, did he see them getting married?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that dagger
she was
came
like,
from the
oh, he
priestesses
knew.
from Dune, but also the...
But it was cool that the dagger could kill her.
Yes,
because
but
it was like the priestesses.
But they also said that the marriage was like blessed by them too, by the people in Dune. So I don't know if he was like a man of like...
I don't know. This is too much for my brain.
I have more questions and answers.
Okay, so there were some cool, like at the end there were some cool reveals.
Yes.
So
my
didn't
theory,
piece it together. You said,
okay, my theory
and I was
is
like, this
reason,
is dumb.
Okay,
like it's supposed to go to Bodhi. We know that because they made this whole conversation about like it's okay, like you're gonna have it next, and you know what to do.
Yeah, he was training Bodhi. Yes, he was training Bodhi to take over for his.
I was like, why does she need it?
He's the Duke of what? Tyrandor? Yeah, Tyrandor. So in one of the chapter headings that I was reading, sometimes I paid attention, sometimes I didn't. So in one of the chapters, he said, I am, now that I'm not a professor anymore, like I resign, I'm not a professor, but now I have all, as Duke of Tyrandor, I have all control over military forces. Okay? Cool. Love it. Thanks. Good job, Xaden. Then, all of a sudden, he's trying to train Bodhi, right? Yeah. And then at the end, I think the reason why he got married is because he had to use the shadows. He put her to sleep because after she killed her in the dark, she felt the darkness go over and she knew what was happening. That's when she said, I loved you. Through the bond, and he heard that.
Yeah, and that like grounded him.
Yeah, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna put her to sleep. So like she went to sleep and it was fine.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why there's that 12-hour period of when they got married. Either she doesn't remember, but I think the main reason is that now that because he says the consort in that other kingdom, like to get her to come in, like I'm Duke of Tyrandor, this is my consort.
Oh yeah. Like wife. Yeah.
Yes. That's why they got married. So now she has like military
control. Yeah.
She has control and military forces that she can use to either get him back and go find him, or when he comes back, he can be pardoned, or like he can't, like even though he's a duke and he's married, so like technically like, like there's something with that. There's a whole reason why. But that I piece it together because I've seen that other romantic. Like it's common.
Okay. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
I don't fault her for that.
I was so confused, but like I don't know if I am just not smart enough to like connect the dots. But I was like, I don't know what happened, and I reread it and I was like, I still don't understand what happened. Like
that's because I've seen it before. I'm like, oh, I pieced it together. But I think that with those headings though, it's like unrecovered or undiscovered. Or recovered correspondence between Violet and Xaden. Like, there's some things like that. There's
that, like, we think are from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it does say consort at one point.
Well, the future, because this all happened in the past, because it's all being written by that scribe.
Jacinda.
Yes.
Or Jacinda's in a different book.
Well, no, that's her.
It starts with a J.
Jacindia?
It's not there, because she's not a scribe. But the scribe, basically.
It's her. No, it's,
Yeah, it's the scribe. It's the the
Jacinia, her friend, the one that used the sign language.
She doesn't speak. Yes, which I do think that is cute that Riddick is learning sign language. Yeah,
I know,
and they use it in battle too.
Okay, but it was really cool that they were using it when those other dragons were there to communicate because they knew the dragons could hear them. That was cool. Yeah, I liked that.
I was like, oh, he's now proficient in sign language. Fucking cool. Because before he was stumbling over his words to try and translate, and previously in the book.
Yeah.
I was annoyed.
I think, like, the whole professor thing. That was dumb. Like, I was like, is this really our conflict?
He was a professor for a week. He was
and they're like, now that you're a professor, even though we all know that you're in love and dating, you're not allowed to touch each other
because
anymore.
I asked you, I was like, do people know that they can communicate? Like, do professors
I don't know.
The friends know.
Yeah.
Like, their friends know.
But I don't know if it's a known thing that, like, they can talk to each other in their minds.
But, like, did we ever figure out if they can talk to each other because Sigale and Tiernan are bonded?
I don't know. Or if it's because of Xaden's gift. I don't know. Or I think it's because of Xaden's gift. Because remember... Like, we didn't know he could read her mind until, like, a while. Or was it she thought she could project, like, talk?
This is when I think I'm dumb.
This is when we need to reread and figure that out. Yes. But I'm, like, as a conflict that, like, is keeping them apart, and that's why they're so lustful, I was like, this is, like, a dumb excuse. Like, oh, he's a professor now, and, like, there's a no fraternization policy when they've been dating for so long.
Like, the forbidden thing, like, Zodiac Academy.
I think it was supposed to be, like, the longing, like, oh, we have to be around each other, but we can't touch each other. And I was like, but I didn't like that reasoning.
We didn't have the longing part. We didn't have the eyes across the room. We had the...
I mean, she tried.
Yes. Yeah. It's the, as soon as I get my hands on you, let's fuck. Not like, oh my God, I haven't touched you in a week. Like, am I explaining the difference? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, longing versus the lustful longing? Yeah. Like, I've read two different ones. You know what I mean? And I just feel like it was very, like, lust forward. Like, physical relationship forward in this book. It's always about when can they fuck, not when can they just be around each other. Like, I can't I'm a professor and technically I'm not supposed to be here, but I just need to hold you for a second.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Rather than
I need to rip your clothes off.
I need to rip your clothes off and get my hands on you right now.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't mind
That's fair.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind it in books, but at this point, I'm like, I needed that to keep me. Like, I needed that in this book.
Yeah.
For me to rate it higher.
Yeah.
If anything. If she wanted to go where the fantasy's going, I don't give a fuck. I will be on the ride with it. You know what I mean? Like, where the plot is going, where the characters are going, I'll be on the ride with you. But I needed that romance part of it because nothing else was gripping me. And I feel sad.
Yeah. And I think she's taking a break from writing, publishing.
Is she?
There's rumors that she's taking a year off.
I mean, authors can take as long as they want to write a book. I'm of that mindset, but I don't care.
My question is, are you going to read the next book?
I think I have. I mean, yes, because I'm so far in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I am committed to these characters, and I definitely want to know. Will I spend the next time this book comes out 12 hours plus of my life sitting down and taking a day off work to do this? No. I will do this. We did this for House of Flame and Shadow. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm not. I will do this for the last JLA book. Like, I will do it for that. We had such a
fun time reading House of Flame and Shadow together because we FaceTime for like the last 5 hours reading it. And I was like, why aren't we just together? This is dumb. Let's do it for the next big book.
Yes.
And so that's why we did it for this. And I'm like,
like JLA's book comes out in June this year or something.
Yeah.
And I will spend all day reading that book because
I'm going to do it for Alchemized.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about that
in
book.
September.
On my birthday?
Oh, I don't know when it comes out. When does it come out? Does it?
Yeah. I told you it was around my birthday. You going to come see me for my birthday?
Am I allowed to?
Yes.
I thought you made it a big deal that Brandon was doing something for you, so I couldn't come.
Okay, you
didn't we do that? Because I was gonna visit you this time, and you're like,
because he was gonna go to a bachelor party, and I was like, you are not leaving me on my 30th birthday. That's why it was a big deal. It was my 30th. So yeah, you can come. I'll come to see you.
I don't know if I'll wait to see what people think. I'm not gonna rush to read the next book. I'm just at the point where I'm like, oh.
I feel like you did that with the JLA series too.
I really liked it, but then I was like, there was too much. It was like the prequel series you had to read and the current. I was like, this is too much. I'm getting overwhelmed.
She kind of ruined it for readers with that. Yeah. So no, I totally get that. I'm 2 books behind on the prequel series that I have to.
Because then I was like, you're supposed to read them in order, and I was like, what is happening? And then I got behind, and I was like, what am I supposed to be reading? And I just gave up. I just was like, I'm just done.
Finishing series? No,
I'm sorry. I'm too overwhelmed. Well,
that's our thoughts. You know that TikTok sound? Well, that's my life. I hope you enjoyed, because I know I did. I still have that. I think I might.
What would we have done if TikTok went away?
I'd have been really sad. I mean, I haven't been on TikTok all day because I didn't want to see any spoilers.
I know.
But also, I think it's also dumb of people posting spoilers. So I'm sorry if you were spoiled by
If someone posted that last page, I would have been like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, nothing would have been spoiled for me. I still don't know after reading the whole book what happened.
Which I did see a part. I saw the letter at the end, which I did tell too. You.
Well, because I was getting so annoyed that I just would flip through the end and look. So I saw that she killed that girl, Tiff, and whatever. And then I saw his letter. I was like, okay, this is what I expected at the end of book 2, so not surprised there. I was like, okay, we already had her kill one of the bad Venin in book 2. Now she's doing it again. Like, nothing. What? Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was a rough ride, to say the least. So let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. It's been a long day, guys, so excuse us if this. Now. I know my eyes are very tired.
Delirious.
Excuse us if it was a little all over the place, but that is our thoughts. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating. Tell us what you thought of this podcast. What kind of emoji, Jess?
Let's do a broken heart. A broken heart.
Broken heart emoji.
And that's Violet.
Oh, I was gonna say that's how I feel about this book. So my little heart's a little broken. So
thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed our bookish life, and we'll see you next time.